Welcome to the Business Collective Podcast with Terry Fletcher. Weekly conversations and insights on how to go from employee to consultant in any business field where your years of expertise can be showcased. Take your career to the next level, entrepreneurship. Now here's your host, nationally recognized healthcare consultant, speaker, and author, Terry Fletcher.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business Collective Podcast. My name is Terry Fletcher. Hope everyone's having a great day. Today, I wanted to dive into a topic that I received a request from one of my friends down under. Her name is Claire Collenge, and she's in the healthcare field, and she has a business that she's building. And it was interesting because when I do ask sometimes for topics, I don't always get them, but I thought this one was one to tackle, and I had to figure out how to actually do that. But she asked me, have you done a podcast that has to do with dealing with haters, doubters, or just really discouraging people when you're trying to start a business? She said it's very tricky on how to approach it. And I agree, because she said what she's been dealing with, or what she had in the past, is when you try to start a business and you encounter certain people, even while they're growing their own business, they're saying, why are you doing that? Or you should do it this way. Or, well, that's a dumb idea. Or they say something very discouraging like, well, you can give it a go, but it may not work. And so I wanted to talk to you about that. And I like to call it basically, dealing with the haters in entrepreneurship. They're inevitable, but here's how to really handle that situation. So I first dipped my toes in the water in entrepreneurship about 2 decades ago. So a little over 20 years ago. And back then it wasn't really, their culture wasn't around personal or individual achievement. And so it was more about just really building something for your family and trying to not work all the time to help somebody else be financially solvent. It was try to get, if you're going to work that hard, it was to get your own success. But really nobody was supposed to really stand out and show their success. In our today's climate, can you even imagine? Just basically saying that you're successful can get all kinds of haters, especially if you're dealing in a climate where someone isn't excited about your race. And so that's also an issue right now. And so one thing that's really tough is that early on, I made really good money for the very first time in my life, in my 20s. And I didn't, really get that message that I was supposed to hold back. So instead, I bought a brand new Mercedes. I thought, you know what? I deserve a status car. I wanted it, and I could afford it. But it didn't take long for resentment to build. Eventually, someone, I never found out who, but I have a feeling I know who it was, only because there was certain things that were being said to certain possibly or potential mutual clients that I'm thinking, wow, I only know that one person that could come from. And when you're 30 years old and all of a sudden you're out on your own, or you're in your late 20s and you're hearing some of these things, you're just thinking, okay, well, is that really necessary? There's enough business for everybody to go around. But, resentment does build, and people, sometimes can't believe that sitting in front of a computer all day is a viable way to run a business, or something to that effect. Not that that's all I do, but there is a lot of computer information involved. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to meet your share of people who are envious or disgruntled by your success. And for lack of a better term, I can only call them haters. Haters may simply talk about you behind your back, but they might also try to stop your success or use you for their own. Running into these toxic people is just inevitable as an entrepreneur, but they don't have to make your life miserable. So in order to keep you from achieving what you've set out to do, and they're out there. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced that, not just so much the haters too, but just the discouraging people thinking, I've seen that. Or what are you doing? And I'm not impressed. Well, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm trying to gain clients. So here's how you handle this situation. First of all, learn to take the punches. When I first started in this, I just know that it was like getting hit in the face when you would run into a brick wall, or just really trying to prepare for the first time when it happens. And you really don't have a reference for it. It's just, wow, you encounter someone who wants to bring you down or even betray you. And that can be a similar experience to, let's say you're a martial arts person and you get hit in the face for the first time. Very similar. You can't believe a person would actually do something like that. And it shocks you, because most of us are really good people, and we would never even consider or it wouldn't even cross our mind to do something like that to somebody else. But after your first run-in with negative people, you kind of start to get used to it, and you can feel certain feelings of or experience certain feelings of disappointment, and you can let it slide rather than letting it consume you, but you need to keep an eye on it. Learn to take the punch and then keep an eye on what's happening. Be mindful, though, of what you share with somebody. Haters aren't necessarily just people talking about you behind your back. You might find that people who you were close to may turn on a dime if they discover there's a situation that they can use to your advantage. So it's beneficial to think twice about who you trust and who you want to share sensitive information with. You have to be very careful about that, because haters, as we call them, won't keep that information to themselves and wait to congratulate you when a deal is done. They'll try to get a cut somehow, even if that means approaching another party in the deal. And in the entrepreneurial world, it's not unheard of for a good friend that you thought to go behind someone's back to get a piece of the action or to try to undercut you some way. So I'm not suggesting that all of your friends are waiting to double cross you, but not everyone you meet along the way is going to be a ride or die friend. The easiest way to tell the difference is see what happens when you go through a rough patch with your business or your finances. The people who stick around, who support you emotionally and still want to hang out when times are tough, those are the ones you can count on. Negative people tend to have a tendency to see themselves out when the money isn't flowing. And I know that firsthand. So be very cautious with that. If you run into an issue with someone, be upfront. There are times when you need to ignore the haters and times when you need to confront them. So, for example, I noticed somebody trolling me on Twitter recently and basically said something and sent an email to somebody that was unrelated to my business, but was on my partner's page, and basically said something from a Twitter comment I made on another comment. And it had nothing to do with business, but they didn't agree with it. And nowadays, if you don't agree with something somebody's saying, especially politically, they will make a mountain out of a molehill. And basically, freedom of speech to me in this country right now is a problem, unless you're going one way. But what happened is that you can choose to ignore it if it's not worth that person's time and you just don't want to escalate it. And that's what I decided to do on this one. I just said, you know what? I'm going to ignore this comment. It was left on my website, and then I just deleted it. And I thought, if this person wants to continue, then that's on them. But if someone is continuously campaigning against you or me, I would take action. That usually means talking to them and being upfront. I just want you to know what's going on. Why are they saying these things? What's the real reason behind it? Sometimes people really, truly just want to be heard and feel validated. But when you talk and listen to them, sometimes you do realize the problem really isn't you and there's something else bothering them, and you just happen to bear the brunt of their displeasure. Or maybe that negativity is just who they are. Sometimes I have seen people in my life that are like that. But in that case, there's really only one thing you can do. And I'm going to be harsh about this. Cut ties when you have to. If someone has proven themselves to be untrustworthy, there's nothing more you can do. You have to cut ties. This is your business. This is your entrepreneur life that you are trying to make successful. I'm not talking about an honest mistake or a miscommunication with somebody, but if someone has betrayed your trust with malicious intent, and you know what that means, to try to either take you down or take your business down or do something that you could consider ruining your livelihood, then you absolutely need to let that relationship go. No one needs that type of negativity in their life, and you can't be spending time with toxic people. You need to be spending time to make your business work, make your business a success, and to focus on your business skills and how to find your path and your direction in this different world right now. So here is how you master the haters, if that's even a possibility. But the internet is really the wild, wild west. And it's unfortunate because we all use it for business. We all use it as marketing. We all use it as, they call it social media. So it's social. And we all use it to comment. And I know a lot of times we probably shouldn't comment on things, especially if it's politically charged, if it's, the moment charged. We need to just kind of sit back and not comment. And it's unfortunate because our voices can't be heard, but there needs to be some things that you set rules for yourself and certain tactics to keep your reputation intact. First of all, and I truly believe this, pay them no mind if you can. Money and success follow attention. You won't get either without attracting haters. There are 5 things to remember. Don't get emotional. Stay rational when you're getting pinged by the haters and critics that say, "Thanks for that. I'll take it into consideration." Then throw it away. Getting emotional messes with your productivity, and you don't want to deal with that. Next, don't fear the hater. Be afraid of those who listen. Friends, family, and people on your team who are weak enough to try to buy into the hate can be more dangerous to you than the haters themselves. You need to get rid of people who pass on constant critics' garbage. And just believe haters are quitters. The people who say you can't do something have already quit trying. When haters say, "Become a multimillionaire," yeah, right. They're actually saying, "I'm a quitter and I'm hoping you quit too because it'll make sense of why I quit." Haters are spectators. Players do not take feedback or criticism from spectators. Those people rarely have success in their own lives because they're too busy speculating on what somebody else is doing successfully. I value correction from other players, but never value criticism from haters. Never waste a hater. I know that sounds interesting, but haters should not be wished away, but used as fuel for you to take you to the next level. So many people have talked about how they used haters to inspire their success. And remember, there's never been a successful person who wasn't criticized or hated at some point. Show them how you win. Being a one-woman show in my business for the first couple of years and then switching from having employees to having subcontractors, I didn't have the time for the haters. But slowly but surely, the fruits of my labor started to create positive buzz, proving that you can have an authentic voice and profit from it at the same time. My biggest thing was to build my reputation. And luckily for me now, 30 years into it, I have a very good reputation, and that's what you want to build. And the key is to block it out while continuing to create a positive impact around you. Nothing discourages haters more than seeing you succeed. And then what I would also consider is that make sure that you realize it's them, not you. When I first started mentoring certain people and taking on some business coaching clients because they said, I really want to do what you do or understand what you do. The biggest thing that I try to do is try to end people's negativity towards themselves and not allow them to let this negativity play on their insecurities. That's not what I do. I love what I'm doing, and I want you to love what you're doing too. That's why I created the podcast. I wanted to make sure that you know that you can do it, inspire you to do it, and realize that people aren't going to change. They're going to say what they want to say, and not everyone's going to love what you're doing, but I want you to love what you're doing, and don't let negativity ruin that. Weirdly, haters validate your stance, proving that, they are trying to be a polarizing effect, but you're the one that needs to be that polarizing effect. Focus on that. And be prepared to face them if there's ever an issue at all. Remember, it's your voice, it's your focus, it's your business. And ultimately, if you say you can or you say you can't, it's true. It starts with you. Only you can make that decision. Are you I can or are you an I can't person? I'm going to leave you with this final thought on this segment of the podcast today. So first of all, see this as an indicator of success. If you're attracting the attention of those who take a greasy pleasure in criticizing you, it's clear people are starting to take notice. Remember the quote from Albert Hubbard. He said, "Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing, and you'll never be criticized." While haters are painful, they're also a measure that your business brand is blooming. So keep that in mind. Keep it going. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it, because you can. And with that, I will see you next week on the Business Collective podcast. Make it a great week, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Business Collective podcast. Drop us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website and blog at www.business-collective.com.